this day for the Shepherd School, and today I'm going to get involved with something that is all over YouTube, all over prepping videos, but I just want to add it because primarily I'm a gun guy, I'm a firearm instructor, that's how all this started, and I got beat up on the other day. One of my subscribers to the website said, you know, take me off because I'm here for gun stuff and not recipes. So I'm going to do some gun stuff just to stay true to my original purpose, my original mission. And what we're going to talk about today is disaster preparation type firearms and your arsenal. Now, I'm sitting here instead of outside because I don't want this to devolve into a big running, gunning, you know, tactical ammo dump video where I say, hey, look at all my cool gear. This is the philosophy that I follow. Okay? I believe in all hazards. Anything that you do needs to be able to be realistic and look about and deal with the issues that you're going to face. Okay? I've got car insurance for in case we get in a wreck. I've got fire extinguishers in case we have a kitchen fire. I've got a first aid kit unless I cut my arm off with a skill saw. Okay? All things that are likely to happen or that are possible to happen. And I have some guns just in case for bad guy insurance. It's a kind of a pet peeve of mine when you see guys and they talk about preps or, you know, raw, and it's all gun and no food. If you say, I believe that there's a possibility that there's going to be some sort of disaster that basically plunges us into anarchy, okay? And you say, the way I'm going to prepare for that is I'm going to spend each paycheck, all of my paycheck, every dollar that I have in guns, assault weapons, you know, those sorts of things. And you neglect everything else. Basically what you're saying is, you are going to be a looter. You're going to be a bad guy, okay? Now on the other side, if you just do food and you don't do anything as a means to protect that food, if there was a societal collapse and there was anarchy and 6 months down the road everybody's walking scarecrows and you're fat and happy and you got an MRE in each hand, you know, somebody who all they did was get 10,000 rounds of .308, they're going to take your stuff. So you've got to have sort of a balance. Now, I don't have unlimited resources. Nobody that I know has unlimited resources. So we have to make some decisions as to what to get. And I've got a list, a prioritized list of food, commo, first aid, self-defense, right? And then there's first tier, second tier, third tier. As there's no sense in buying the very best gun if I don't have a wheat grinder, right? And so what I do is I get a bare minimum of preparation, and then once I have that level, then I'll go to the next level. Luckily, though, being a gun guy, being a firearm instructor, I started out with some decent guns, you know, before we got into it. And so with looking at guns, we have to look at cost. We have to look at reliability. We have to make sure that it's not some wildcat cartridge that you can't buy except for special order. So you want something that's proven, it's got some time to it. Military adoption would be great, something like 9mm, 45, 12 gauge, 223, 308, those sorts of rounds. And you need to be able to either store a lot of rounds or preferably and have the ability to reload the rounds. So at our house, what we did, rather than me buying, you know, a whole bunch of different types of pistols, basically we settled in on a certain couple of models, and then we get multiples of that. That way, you know, I've got my Glock, the wife gets her Glock, you know, and that way we have interchangeable magazines, and we're still working on getting multiples, but that's the idea. And so let's start with the first line of defense, the handgun. This is what we got at our house, is the Glock 19. I happen to like it OD green because, you know, It's a little different. But I got a little 9mm Glock, and a lot of people don't like 9 mils. They say, you know, it's not a good defensive caliber unless it starts with a 4 and ends with a 5. But I say to that, hey, nobody wants to get shot. And with the Glock 19 and a full capacity magazine, I've got about 17 rounds of they don't want to get shot. So I will give up a little bit of stopping power for a little bit extra rounds. Because let's face it, a handgun isn't a definitive fight stopper in the majority of cases. So I've got a Glock, and I picked a Glock because it's pretty standard. It's pretty easy to get parts to. A lot of magazines out there for it. It's very reliable, and it's pretty common. So I can get them used for you know, not as much money as if I was buying, say, a Desert Eagle or something. Now, this leads me to something that I have kind of another pet peeve about, and that is people hanging stuff on their guns just to hang stuff on their guns. If you're going to modify your pistol or your rifle or your shotgun, you need to only put those aftermarket parts on there that serve an articulable need. You have to say, here's my problem and here's my solution. Not, hey, that looks cool, let me order it. So, on this one I've got 2 modifications. And one serves an articulable need, and one is an example of it shouldn't be on the gun. First one is I have an aftermarket barrel. I have an aftermarket barrel because I cast my own bullets and I reload my own rounds. And a Glock factory barrel isn't for shooting lead bullets. So I got a barrel that's rifled in such a way that it can handle lead reloads. Therefore, I can reload 9mm with cast bullets. The second one is, and let's make sure that this is clear, double check, I've got some aftermarket sights. And these sights are on the gun because I was asked to do a review of them. And so I had to tear my old sights off. I put these sights on there and just haven't replaced them. But I do like them, even though they're not very good for target shooting, but they're really large, easy to see, and I like the sights. But I wouldn't have just put these on a gun just to do it. But since they're on there, I like them, and they don't really change anything. The next thing is, because handguns are great, but they don't serve all purposes. So the next thing is, I've got a nice 870 pump 12-gauge shotgun, and it too is pretty much factory standard. I did change out the barrel that came with it, the vent rib, I think it was 30-inch barrel that it came from the store in, and put an 18.5-inch barrel because it's a lot easier to tote around with a shorter barrel. I've also put a sling on there, sling swivels and those sorts of things. But I like a 12-gauge because it is a definitive fight stopper when used in its, within its capabilities. Pretty versatile. Slugs, shot, buckshot. I don't get in all those fancy rounds that are $5 a piece and will get you sued and really aren't that effective. So I stick with slugs, buckshot, and birdshot mostly. And I do have some molds to reload slugs and buckshot. I'm not going to get into reloading or casting lead shot. It's just not effective. But I can reload and cast my own slugs and buckshot. So this is a really good gun, really multi-purpose. Now, the wife says I can't use this word, but I'm going to because I think it's cool. Is the last of my trifecta of disaster firearms is a rifle. You need some sort of long-range capability, and for that, I have, and it's probably no surprise, an AR. Now, this AR I built from a strip lower. And I've got videos on there if you want to see how to do that. But picked an AR because they're all over the place. It's really easy to get parts for, really easy to get magazines for and ammunition for. They're all over the place. And this one's stock too. I don't count adding a sling as modifying the gun because it's designed to have a sling to it. But I do have a modification. I've got this race stock, which allows me to always have, 30 rounds in the gun besides 30 rounds in the actual, magazine well. So I could pick this up, and it's got 60 rounds on me at all times. And so that's my rifle. So, to recap, pick a gun that you can afford ammunition for, and that you can afford to practice with, okay? Because you need to know how to operate your gun. Being cool and having the most tactical mall ninja type gun isn't going to help you if you don't know how to operate it. So get something you can afford to shoot and that you can shoot. Don't get the biggest gun out there if it doesn't meet the needs. I love a 50. I want to get me a 50 BMG rifle, but with rounds at $2 and with the power behind that, where am I going to shoot it? And then once I buy the gun for $10,000, how am I going to afford to shoot it? So I don't have one, right? I can buy, several ARs or SKSs. If your budget fits, you want to get an SKS or something, that works too. But get something that fits your budget, that you can afford to shoot, that you'll train with, that you know how to operate, okay? And don't let looking cool or what somebody else tells you affect your choice. It's your tail, so you need to do the work. So really, that's all I've got. So until next time, you can always catch us on the blog, www.tngun.com. Thanks.